Welcome back to Alex Mix on quarantine day.
Madison.
Who knows? We're going to be making Bon Appetit's recipe that just came out very recently. Molly did sour cream and onion biscuits, and that sounds very appealing. Sounds like something that me and my family would very much enjoy, so we're going to make it today.
Alright, let's get started, shall we? So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and trim off these little fuzzy bits from the bottom of my scallions. And then I'm going to give these a nice chop from root to end, like so. Once these are chopped, I'm going to place them in a bowl and set them aside and get my dry ingredients going. So I'm going to need 2 1/2 cups of flour. You want to be sure that you're measuring your flour right. Don't just scoop the cup into the flour. You want to scoop the flour into the cup and then level it off just like that. And I'm going to continue to do that for the rest of my flour, just like so. Next, I'm going to add 1 1/4 teaspoons of granulated sugar, 1 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of Morton's kosher salt. Then we're going to give all of this some whiskey business. I'm so stupid sometimes. And before I forget, I'm also going to crack 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper into this mixture. After that has all been combined, I'm going to add 10 tablespoons of very cold butter. I'm talking out of the freezer cold butter. Next, I'm going to take my pastry cutter and I'm just going to cut the butter into the flour mixture until I have about pea-sized shaped pieces of butter coated in flour. Now you don't need to use the pastry cutter. I just like to ensure that my butter does not melt into my flour so that I can have the flakiest biscuits possible. Now that my butter and flour has been cut together, I'm going to add my scallions and 1 1/4 cup of sour cream. Then I'm going to mix that together using a wooden spatula until a shaggy dough forms. After my dough has come together, I'm going to dramatically flour my workstation, and then I'm going to turn it out onto the counter and form it into one big dough ball. Now you want to work rather quickly while you're doing this, because the more you have your hands on this dough, the more likely that butter is going to melt and mix in with the flour, and then they won't rise in the oven like you want them to. Now that our dough has come together, we're going to form this into a rectangle like so, and then we're going to do what is called a letter fold. So I'm going to take the top third of my dough and fold it over the middle third of my dough. Then I'm going to take the bottom third and fold it over the rest. And I'm going to press it out into another rectangle and repeat that process again. And we're going to repeat this process 3 times to ensure that our biscuits have tons of flaky, buttery layers. After our third fold, I'm going to form this into a rectangle one more time, and then I'm going to cut out 8 biscuits with my bench scraper. Next, I'm going to take my baking sheet and I'm going to spray some vegetable oil on it really quickly. Then I'm going to brush the tops of these with butter. And I'm going to throw them in a 425 degree oven for 18 to 22 minutes, or until nice and golden brown like this. And these came out so beautifully. And such a basic recipe. There's barely even 10 ingredients. And look at how beautiful these are. Oh, look at how they separate. The layers are so flaky and nice. And I love the green specks from the scallions in them as well. Okay, that's enough of me gabbing. Let's go grab some butter and serve one of these up.
Alright, let's try it. Buen provecho, bon appetit, itadakimasu. Enjoy. Oh my god. Who came up with this? Because I want to give you a hug. Aww. This is delicious. Oh my god. I'm gonna go enjoy this in private. If you enjoy what you see, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time on Alex Bates.